Here is the 2024 Lasko 3733. I just picked this up today. We're into July. I got this in hopes to be able to trade this for a vintage 1999 3733. But I figured I'll go ahead and film it before that happens, because the only videos people seem to watch anymore is modern garbage. I've been filming vintage fans for the last several days and they're getting no views. You know, maybe a couple hundred a day. This will probably get thousands of views overnight. That just conceptually drives me up the wall. But that's the way it is. So people ask, what do you record these cheap fans for? Well, because these are the only videos that actually make any money, which I then use to buy the vintage ones. So anyways, here it is. I haven't bought one of these in a couple years now. I think the last ones I bought were probably in 2018 or 2019. And they have changed a bit over the years. You know, over two or 3 years they could be different. First thing I noticed here is that the high stop is the old one that with the circular design as opposed to the boxy rectangular one, which I don't like. So this one I'd much prefer, although it is the newer Lasko words in that bland, uninteresting font. Allegedly made in USA. Of course, it's from domestic and imported parts. The imported part is the motor, so duh. Air circulating box fan, steel body, built to last. That's cap. 3 quiet speeds. That's cap. Top mounted controls, easy carry handle. That's cap because it was going to break. Save smart. Comfort for less than 2 cents per hour. And they've been saying that for years. The fact that it says for environmentally responsible disposal of this product right on the top of the box is kind of concerning, because it should last long enough that that's not really a problem. Lasko cares about the planet. Then why make landfill ready products? Fragile, do not drop. It probably is quite fragile. Well, let's open this up and see how it works. This costs $19 and change, or $19.98 or something, so these have actually come down compared to the last couple of years. I remember when these were $16. Actually, I remember when they were $12. You used to be able to get a Galaxy branded one at Walmart in the 2000s for $11 and change. And then for a couple years in the late 2010s, they were around $16. Then they started going up. Around 2020, 2021, they were like $23, $26. Now this year they're back to $19. My 2 cents for $19, this is a decent product. But let's see. Let's see what we got here. This is what it looked like. Comes with these legs that often break. Huh. That's really cool. The high stop is back to the old circular one. The only thing that's different is the wording. See, this is the old one. That's the old Lasko, older Lasko font. And then there was a period of time for the last couple of years where it was just like a plain square logo, which I didn't care for. Now we're back to this one. That's kind of cool. So that's only cosmetic, but to me that's a movement in the right direction. Here's those legs. Here's the document, which is in some kind of slick paper. Do not operate with feet missing. Just about everybody uses these with the feet missing. because they always the break. And not much to speak of on air. So the cord is jammed in the guard there. It's got a black stripe on it for some reason. And it's like jammed under the handle. The cord is kind of stiff and has a lot of memory to it. It's an acceptable length. It's about 6 or 7 feet probably. So the fan itself, you know, it's not perfect. The cage is all marked up on the sides, and the top ain't too bad. It's marked by the switch. This side looks okay. The molding on this piece is absolutely horrible. You can see it's got all holes in it. Now somebody, I had read a couple weeks ago that the motors have changed to being square as opposed to circular, and this does in fact have that square motor. So this is considerably different than the last ones that I purchased a couple years ago. 2023 to 24, and now there's a 2 there. Does that mean February? Here's the informations. In case those aren't showing up on the camera, it says 0.8 amps. Yeah, the molding is very cheap on the guard. You can see there's old plastic tags everywhere. But, you know, it is a economically cheap product, so you can't expect it to be perfect. The front guard, I mean, they're using so little material that some of these pieces don't even connect. Like this one here is not even connected. Doesn't really matter, I guess. The blade itself, some of the tips are a little rough, which might cause some noise during operation. I'll be able to tell as soon as I turn it on. I really like that it changed back to this ovular logo. I think it's much more aesthetically pleasing than the other one. Two pieces of wasted material. These feet just kind of stick in the bottom here like this. And what breaks off is the tab that clicks on the end. Oh, they're staying on there now. Alright, we got the fuse plug, which has been standard for a long time. And people complain about this, but it never seems to go out, so who cares? Yeah, the switch actually feels really nice. That's surprising. Alright, so we're going to test at 119.2 the volts. Let's see what we got on low. Well, it's still out of balance, as these have been for many years. And I can hear the imperfections in the blade. I can definitely hear that. This kind of sounds like the old original one back from '99 when they first come out with this blade. It's got like the high frequency whirring sound to it. It actually doesn't feel all that out of balance. I think it's just shaking so much because it's so light. That's 0.45 amps, 42.3 the watts. The power factor is 0.77, which is abysmal for a PSC motor. Hopefully that will go up. But that's very, very poor. In terms of the airflow, I can feel it all the way across the room. It's moving a decent amount of air for whatever it's worth. For the noise, It's on the louder side, in my opinion. The box says it's quiet. Well, that's all subjective. It's quieter than a vacuum, but to me it's still kind of noisy. There's other box fans that are much quieter than this from years ago. The medium. The motor has kind of a hum to it. That's 0.55 amps. 58 watts with a power factor of 0.88 the power factor, so it is going up as the speed increases. And it really is moving a satisfactory amount of air for a cheap fan. Interestingly, it's not shaking much anymore. I guess the speed of the blade is at such a point that it's not causing the whole cabinet to be totally out of balance or shake. Now let's see what the high is like. On high, that's 0.66 the amps. That's considerably less than what it's rated for. 77 watts with a power factor of 0.97 the power factor. For about 0.7 amps, it's not bad for what it's doing. This is kind of on the loud side. This, to me, would be disruptive to a conversation or trying to watch television or hear music. Even medium would be as well. I think that low is really the only tolerable noise amount. It gets quite loud on the higher speeds. It's not in perfect balance, but it's really not that far out either. Feel the air moving across the room. See what the bearings are looking like here. Well, as we've seen pretty consistently with these over the years, they seem to ship with an adequate amount of lubrication, which is not something that we can say about all the fans on the market today. Let's see if there's any kind of a startup sound here. I think that there might be some. Yeah, just a little bit. I don't see what the branding on this motor is. It's got a 6 microfarads capacitor, which is kind of a lot for a small motor like this. I'd like to have seen something more around 3. But and the motor looks like it's constructed well enough. See the windings in there. That's an 8-pole. Yeah, I think it's an 8-pole motor. Well, time will tell. As I've said in the past, for the price point, I think it's a pretty solid product. The Power Plus model, the Weather Shield model, they're definitely worth the extra money. I think it's a much more powerful unit. But for an economy product at $20, I think this is halfway reasonable. It's noisy, but it does move the air. It does so without drawing a lot of power. And as long as you keep the motor clean, you got to take some compressed air and blow dust out of the motor. Keep the motor clean. Keep the guards clean and the blade clean and everything. These do last a decent amount of time.